Ladies and gentlemen, do you like playoff sports? Because boy, do I have some good news for you. We are officially less than a week away from the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, 3 second clap for that.
And also, I don't think it's a week, but not that far away, from the NHL playoffs.
Another 3 second clap for that.
Sorry we missed last week. I was incredibly sick and sounded horrible over a mic, and my apologies if I still do sound bad. But today we've got some interesting topics to cover for you guys, and it includes multiple playoff sports, a champion in March Madness, it wasn't even the people we picked in our bracket, spoiler alert, and MLB. MLB's up and running, and we're seeing some good stuff so far. But we're going to get it covered with the NFL segment first, because that is easily the sport with the least happening right now. Not a whole lot to talk about. It might be like, 2-3 minutes. First up, if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, we have horrendous news for you. Stephon Diggs got traded to the Texans for, not a whole lot whatsoever.
The Buffalo Bills received a second-round pick in return while giving up Stephon Diggs, a fifth-round pick, and a seventh-round pick, which for me personally as a Buffalo Bills fan is kind of a disappointing haul for him. But when you look at the stats of how the Bills played down the stretch last season, maybe not having Stephon Diggs is the right idea, but I don't know.
I really hope Khalil Shakir continues to do his best to fill the shoes of that role Stephon Diggs left. Otherwise, it's going to be a horrendous year for the Bills because Josh Allen's not going to have anybody to throw to.
Yeah. I think that the Bills will definitely use either their first or newly acquired second-round pick to draft a wide receiver. Maybe Xavier Worthy out of Texas. I feel
that
like
would be a
he could
huge
be a
deal.
game changer.
That would be a huge deal. I mean, we already saw how fast he is with how fast he ran at the combine, almost touching Usain Bolt's 40-yard dash speed. So he looks really, really good. And I actually just got some news from NFL.com. I can't really access it because I got logged out of my account. But the Bills signed another wide receiver. He used to play for the Ravens. He had a kick return touchdown for the Ravens last season.
Is it Devin Duvernay?
It's either Duvernay or... why can't I remember his name? There's another receiver that's their best receiver besides, say, Flowers. He got hurt, I think. Rashad Bateman? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Aguilar? Who are you thinking of?
I don't know. I think it's Rashad Bateman, but I don't know that he returns kicks, so I'm probably wrong there. But they got somebody. So I think Turner's going to look it up right now while I tell you about what we're going to do next, and we're going to make predictions on who will be the halftime show artist at next year's Super Bowl. Should we do top three? Because I feel like one is really, really easy. A little too easy because, the NFL has some pretty big ties with one superstar singer in particular, so it'd be really easy to pick them as the favorite. But it's always fun to watch the halftime show and see what comes of it. The last few have been all right in my opinion. My favorite that I have ever seen is probably, I'm going to say Justin Timberlake, actually. He was really good.
What year was that? 2018, I want to say?
Either 17, 18, or 19, something like that. And then the one with Snoop Dogg and all of those artists in Los Angeles between the Rams and the Bengals was also a really good Super Bowl halftime show. So those are my two favorites in my most recent memory.
Yeah, but who are your personal predictions for next year's halftime show?
Well, I'm going to start with number one, and we will hit the drum roll button. Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's kind of the obvious number one for pretty much anybody. The connection with the NFL right now, it just makes the most logical sense.
The NFL has captured the hearts of the Swifties, and if you had the halftime show at the Super Bowl, ticket prices would be absurd to that Super Bowl. NFL could make so much money off of that, and Taylor Swift probably. So that is my hot take, not really a hot take, for who is going to be the number one performer at the Super Bowl. What about you, Turner? Same person?
Yeah, it's obvious. I feel like if you were to quiz most people, the number one answer would be Taylor Swift, but...
Yeah. Do you have a number two in mind?
Oh, I'm trying to think popular artists, because I don't listen to that much popular music. But I feel like maybe if the NFL were to step outside of like the normal kind of music they go for with like hip hop / rock, and maybe go for a Latino artist, I feel like Bad Bunny could definitely be up there. I would put him at number 2 probably.
That would be a spicy change for the NFL to have a singer that does not, sing their songs in English at the Super Bowl. That would be really cool, actually.
Well, yeah, he's extremely, extremely popular, though.
And talented, too. I mean, he represents culture very well, and NFL probably wants to represent, culture as well as they can, considering they're a big franchise, and they want people to think that they're pro-culture. Not saying that they're not, or not saying that there are, but I think that'd be really awesome. And I actually listened to some of his music. A lot of it's a little bit too over the top for my taste, but I like it. And I also like listening to music in Spanish because I'm trying to learn Spanish. I'm not very good at it, though.
Yeah. But
glad to see you agree with me not being good at Spanish.
That's not what I was saying yeah to. I was saying, let's move on to the number 3.
I never gave my number 2.
My bad.
My number 2 pick is a guy that's actually sung the national anthem a handful of times for NFL games and has a good tie with the Dallas Cowboys. Not saying that the Cowboys are making a Super Bowl anytime soon. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. But I think his investment in the NFL and like as a sports fan gives him a really good shot to be a halftime singer. And I think it's Post Malone. I think people would love to see Post Malone at the halftime. He's got some memorable songs. He's performed at NBA for All-Star Weekend once, so he's got like a background performing in the sports industry, so I really think Post Malone is a pretty good shot to be a halftime artist.
Okay, I have an update. So the Bills did not sign a Ravens wide receiver. You have it backwards. The Ravens signed a former Bills wide receiver.
Ooh, let me think about Bills wide receivers with return touchdowns. Deontay Hardy?
It is indeed Deontay Hardy.
Yeah, he had that really big one in the last game of the season against the Dolphins to give us the division. So, yeah, I had it backwards. I thought maybe we had just gotten Devin Duvernay or Rashad Bateman, and I was going to be really happy.
I'm not going to lie. I thought when you said the Bills signed a former Ravens wide receiver, for a second I thought you were going to say we got Odell Beckham, but unfortunately the Bills just got even worse on the wide receiver side.
It's been a rough offseason for the Bills. They've definitely had the second worst offseason because nothing can compare to how horrible the Cowboys offseason has been.
But back on topic. My number 3, if I had to choose, I feel like this is one that would be very popular just because they make such good music. Even though they peaked probably a couple years ago, I think Imagine Dragons would be really cool for a halftime show. And I feel like that's right on with what the NFL would do.
Respectfully to Justin Timberlake, it totally is possible that they could pick an artist that is past their prime. Because Imagine Dragons is past their prime, and I'd say Justin Timberlake is most notable among mothers because of his NSYNC days. So, speaking of that, my mother's a huge NSYNC fan, or was. So, yeah. My number 3. Number 3. Who to pick? Give me a second to think on it.
Well, you're the one who came up with this idea for this segment. I don't know how you don't have answers.
I'm not going to lie. I had a name in mind and I completely forgot it. Okay, I got it now. I think that there's a chance that the NFL tries to go with a newer artist to kind of keep pace with, like, newer, fans and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because the overall game will appease older fans because it doesn't really change that much. But newer fans might have a harder time watching the same game.
I know.
So
I know if you want to capitalize on that, you could get every 13-year-old girl in America to watch the Super Bowl if Taylor Swift's performing.
Exactly. But I think that there's a good chance that I kind of got like a tie between 2 artists, and it's Doja Cat and JVKE, or Jake, I guess. I gotta say, I really love some of his stuff. So he's really popular on TikTok, which might be getting banned, but we're not gonna dive into that because we are a non-political podcast. But yeah, I really like his music, and I think other people like his music too, and would love to see him in the halftime show.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty good. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Like, he's got some really good songs. Like, I love This Is What Space Feels Like and Golden Hour. Those are probably my two favorites. So
this is kind of a random segment for us. I think we're just trying to do a filler because the NFL doesn't have much going on right now.
We're over here diving into music. So
yeah, but music's not our specialty on this podcast. So let's move on to our next sport.
Yes,
what do we got?
Sports is our specialty, and we're going to move on to the only other sport that we talk about that isn't going to be in playoffs or has commenced, because we did have the special March Madness. I guess we'll talk about the March Madness because I just said that. First things first, I want to say me and Turner's brackets got absolutely decimated.
I'm not going to lie. Both of our teams lost within the next 2 days after we filmed the last episode of the podcast.
I picked Arizona to win it all, and they were literally the first team out of all of the Elite 8 teams, or Sweet 16 teams, or whatever it was, to lose.
Sweet 16.
The first team to lose.
Yeah, and then my team proceeded to lose the very next day. So
yeah, Creighton
obviously shows you what we know about college basketball.
Which is apparently nothing other than DJ Burns is absolutely awesome to watch, and Zach Edey is going to be a monster.
However, there is some other important college basketball news that has been taking the internet by storm over this week. Bronny James declared for the NBA draft. What do you think of that?
I think it's interesting because personally, I don't think he's shown enough to prove why an NBA team would draft him. At this point, you would be drafting him exclusively for a potential upside of having a young player because, he's young, and because you'd get the chance to have LeBron James.
You know what that means. I got a hot take.
I'm ready for it.
Bronny James will not get drafted in this year's draft.
I personally don't think that's a hot take. I don't think he's NBA ready. I think you need to give him a bit more time. But the real thing is LeBron going to push for him to be drafted and be like, because he's near retiring, and so he doesn't have a whole lot of years left. And if he really wants the chance to play with Bronny, he might push for, the Lakers to draft him and then re-sign him.
Personally, I hope the Lakers don't draft him, and I also kind of hope that the Lakers don't retain LeBron. Unlike a lot of Lakers fans, I'm not a huge LeBron guy. I will admit greatness. He's been a fantastic player, definitely up there in the GOAT debate. But personally, I just think with the way that he messes with an organization and his age, it's just going to all collapse for the Lakers in the next decade. You kind of saw the same thing with the early 2010s Lakers with Steve Nash and Dwight Howard and all of those players. They didn't win anything because all of those players were too old, and then they regressed for years up until 2020 when they won the title again.
And then they blew it up all again. But you're telling me that LeBron, as a Lakers fan, he isn't your sunshine? Your only sunshine?
Yeah.
He doesn't make you happy when skies are gray?
I don't glaze LeBron like some people do. But I will admit he is a very talented player and is definitely up there in the top 3 greatest players of all time. If not top 2, if not top 1.
Are you saying that you think LeBron's the best player of all time?
Personally, if I had to choose, I would probably give it to MJ and then LeBron and then Kobe. I am a huge Kobe guy though, so...
Yeah, I'm shocked to hear you put LeBron above Kobe.
Look, I'm not a super biased person. I can be honest. In my personal opinion, Kobe is my GOAT, but MJ is the GOAT.
Yeah, the overall. I agree with that.
And LeBron's definitely up there in that conversation too, and you could totally make a case for him being the GOAT.
You sure could. But we're getting off topic. We haven't even talked about who won March Madness. It was a great game, basically up until the final few minutes when UConn ran away with it over Purdue and won the Final Four. A 3-second clap for UConn. They're the first team in a very long time to repeat in the Final Four, and it's very impressive that they could do that out of 64 teams to be the best in back-to-back years.
It's been probably, I want to say, it's 17 years because it was 2007 when the UCLA Bruins repeated. So They have broken the 17-year drought of no back-to-backs, and next year they'll be looking for the three-peat.
They're going to have to deal with a incredibly good Duke team that just got Kyle Filipowski recruited from high school as a freshman to join them next year.
What do you mean? They already have Filipowski. I
Filipowski.
think you're talking about Cooper Flagg.
Cooper Flagg, yes. Oh my goodness, I'm getting all these players mixed up. But Duke is going to be amazing. They're going to have, I think his name's McCain, right? And Filipowski and Flagg, and they're just going to be a powerhouse. Honestly, Coach K should come out of retirement and coach them.
The question truly is are they going to be able to get past the unclutch allegations?
I mean, they made it this year to the Sweet 16. What's to say there's anything stopping them from making it to at least the top two?
I don't know, but they're just one of those teams that seems to have a choking culture. Like, you see it in every single sport. The Clippers in the NBA, the Cowboys in the NFL, and Duke and Kentucky, both of the big blue schools, they just have a kind of a choking, I don't know, that's just kind of what their team is known for when it comes to the playoffs or March Madness.
I don't know how much of a hot take this is, but I'm saying that Duke is at least competing in the championship game next year in March Madness. Their team is too good not to at least get, like, Sweet 16. I feel like that'd be a disappointment for them.
Honestly, the thing about the March Madness tournament that makes it so enjoyable to watch is just the wildness of it. The fact that a 16 seed has just enough talent to beat a number 1 seed in a one-game matchup. It's wild. It's crazy. It's probably not the best way to judge who's the best team in the league because momentum and stuff.
All kinds of stuff happens. So,
but yeah. The difference between that and the NBA is in the NBA you play 7 different games. So it's like you have to prove your dominance over another team multiple times instead of just winning one game.
Yeah, the thing in the NBA is you can let one slip against a lower seeded team and still wipe the floor with them. In the NCAA, if you let a game slip to a lower seeded team, that's your whole tournament run. You're gone.
But yeah, that's just the beauty of March Madness, and that's what makes it so enjoyable to watch and why I watch it every year, even though I'm not a big college basketball guy.
Yeah, I'm sad to see it go, but I'll be happy to see it come back next year. All right, we're going to move on from our March Madness segment to our MLB segment because I think this is the second week of the MLB, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is correct. It started not last Thursday, but the Thursday before that. If you're not counting the Soul Series, that is. But so far, the Dodgers have looked pretty good. I'm gonna say that much. My boys have looked fantastic out there. They look like a team that definitely has enough talent to win it all. Mookie Betts is having a fantastic early season. Shohei Ohtani's finally finding his rhythm again. Freddie Freeman's just been Freddie Freeman, quietly amazing. Man, our team is just so good. I'm very excited to watch how the rest of the MLB season plays out.
Same. We're going to play a little game of 3 things we expected, 3 things we didn't expect, and 3 things we can expect later in the year. We're going to start with 3 things we expected. What are 3 things that we expected that have happened thus far with 2 weeks of baseball in the books?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is the Dodgers' dominance. We already knew that they were one of the most stacked rosters in the league coming in, and they've proved it so far.
That's a good pick for your first one. My first pick is going to be Steven Kwan near the top of the list in batting average. Steven Kwan's batting .385. He was great last year. He's just an amazing average hitter. So I really expected him to do good this year, and it's just exactly what I've been expecting so far.
Is Will Smith really leading the MLB in batting average right now?
Save it for later in case that's one of your things you didn't expect.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at that stat and I'm really confused.
So yeah, what's your other thing you did not expect?
Something I did not expect was the Pittsburgh Pirates have played like one of the best teams in the league.
That is true. The Pirates have been on a heater. I think they're winning their division by 2 games? No, 1 game. Yeah, but they're 9-3, which is insane. They're almost as good, if not better, than the Dodgers in record.
Yeah, the Dodgers are only 10-5, so I think it's probably even. Maybe they're like one game ahead, but
Yeah. I'd say the Yankees are the first team, which, I mean, you could say it was expected.
man, Juan
but
Soto has been so good for the Yankees.
you could say it was expected that they'd be good, but you could also say it's unexpected that they've been good because they lost Garrett Cole. Think about that. This is the Yankees without Garrett Cole.
Yeah, but you also have the Dodgers without Walker Buehler, Dustin May, Jason Hayward, Clayton Kershaw. I mean, both of those teams will keep getting reinforcements on the pitching side. And I think, personally, it could be a potential World Series matchup.
Ooh, Dodgers-Yankees? That would also be like a hugely watched matchup.
Yes, the history between both of those teams back in the days when the Dodgers played in Brooklyn, the amount of... These are the two most popular teams in baseball history. It would be just such a fantastic series to watch. Two of the most well-known stadiums in baseball, Yankee Stadium and Dodger Stadium. It would just be such a fantastic series to watch.
Yeah, it would be really good. And it's honestly something to look forward to. My pick for something that was unexpected is the Astros kind of stink. They are the fourth worst team in the MLB right now with a record of 4-8.
Yet they still managed to throw a no-hitter on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, that is true. They did throw a no-hitter, so I guess a 3-second clap to
Ronald Blanco.
Raniel Blanco. That's how you pronounce it. It's Raniel, not Renal. But they actually have a run differential of 0, and they currently sit at fourth. So not a negative run differential. It's just,
the thing about the Astros right now, as you know, I am not a fan of the Astros. I do not like them at all. But it's not their talent that's the reason they're losing games right now. It's just the schedule they've had. They've had to play the Rangers. They've had to play the Yankees. It's just been a stretch of difficult teams they've had to play against, and it's not their fault they're losing games.
Yeah, they got swept by the Yankees to open the season. The Yankees are currently the best team by record. They played the Blue Jays, which they took 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays, and then they played the Rangers, who they took 2 out of 4 of. So
they did lose to the Royals.
Currently, the Royals are stomping on the Astros in the 4th inning by a score of 7-2. I'll talk about the Royals later, probably.
But yet again, the Astros are another team who's getting pitching reinforcements back later. Justin Verlander.
Yeah, and Framber Valdez will come back soon.
He was put on the aisle today, though, so tough luck for the Astros.
Yeah, when they win big. When they lose big, and that's why they currently have a 0-run differential. But also, they haven't been able to close out games, despite the fact that literally they have 2 of the best closers in the league, Ryan Presley and Josh Hader. So, that's something I didn't expect. What's something that we can expect later in the year?
Something that you can expect later in the year is that, man, the NL wildcard race is going to be crazy.
And the AL, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, the wild card races are just going to be crazy. There's going to be multiple teams who are very talented that end up missing the playoffs. You look at a team like the Diamondbacks, who won the World Series last year. They have a fantastic roster, but they're going to probably have to fight for a wild card spot because they're probably not going to beat the Dodgers for the number 1 seed in the division.
That is very true. And both the Diamondbacks and the Padres are really good, but there's no way they're going to compete with the Dodgers because the Dodgers already have like a 4-game lead over the Diamondbacks and like a 5-game lead over the Padres. And this is really early in the year, and they've beaten the Padres multiple times already, so I don't know what the chances are for either of those teams to win the division, but they seem, honestly, like the hopes are fading every single game that they lose and the Dodgers win. Because the Dodgers are just that good.
But hey, when you look at a team like the Diamondbacks, they also made the wild card last year, and we all know how that ended. I'm still salty about it.
Yeah, they kind of cooked. So, my thing that we can expect, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think we can expect both Tyler Glasnow and Kudai Senga to make the All-Star game.
I think that's a pretty good take. Tyler Glasnow has just been fantastic for the Dodgers so far, really filling that ace role as Yoshinobu Yamamoto kind of grows into the MLB. And Kudai Senga, I got to watch one game because they were playing the Dodgers. I watched it, and he's dominant. He's just a fantastic player. Like, I honestly think he has Cy Young potential. That probably warranted a hot take button, but maybe
Glasnow or Senga?
Senga. He's just been fantastic.
Yeah, and so is Glasnow, honestly. Glasnow played 14 batters in Minnesota, which their offense isn't great, but that's a horrible ballpark to try and throw in because it's at a pretty high elevation.
Yeah.
But honestly, I've just been so impressed with the way that these two new players have played on new teams coming into this, and so it's just been fun to watch. They've both been really, really, really good so far, and I'm really happy about it. So,
yeah. What's
another thing that you expected to happen?
Expected to happen. Juan Soto is dominating in the Bronx.
That makes sense. We all knew that short porch, he is a very opposite heavy hitter, or pull heavy hitter. I don't know how to distinguish the two. He sits on the left side of the batter's box and hits it home runs to the right porch.
Yeah, that's a pull hitter.
He is hitting for power. He is hitting for average. He's making great contact.
Great defense, too, which is really underrated.
I mean, he was a Gold Glove candidate not that long ago. Personally, I thought he was a very fraudulent candidate for that Gold Glove
He's gotten better at his defense now that he's been in the MLB longer. But he even opening day threw out a runner to finish the game against the Astros.
Yeah. And his discipline at the plate has been complete and utter madness this season. He is super well disciplined. One of the best players that I see when he's at the plate, knows his strike zone super well. So Juan Soto is probably going to continue raking for the New York Yankees as he was expected to. My pick is along the lines of that. We both kind of expected Corbin Burnes to dominate in a pitcher-friendly park in Baltimore, and he has done exactly that. He's been really, really good for the Orioles. Low ERA, a lot of strikeouts, not a whole lot of walks.
Man, that AL East race is going to be fun to watch between the Orioles and the Yankees this season.
The worst team in the AL East currently sits at 6-7.
Yeah, that's truly just the most stacked division, other than maybe the NL West. But I guess the AL East is probably better, just because the NL West has the Rockies in it, and the Rockies are really, really bad still.
The Rockies have not been good for a long time, and it looks like they're going to continue to not be good.
Like we said on Trivia Week, they have the least amount of playoff appearances in MLB history.
By a lot.
Yeah.
What was something you did not expect so far 2 weeks into baseball?
Will Smith is leading the MLB in batting average.
I mean, Will Smith's been on a heater recently. He's hitting really well at the plate. He's playing good defense.
He's not hitting a lot of home runs, but he's hitting for average. He's kind of playing like Freddie Freeman, I feel like. That's kind of how I would compare him.
Yeah, he's been really, really good for the Dodgers so far.
What's your unexpected thing?
My unexpected thing is Spencer Steer has been an absolute dog thus far in the season. He is second in batting average. He's tied for first in runs batted in, third in on-base plus slugging, has a hit in every game but one this year, has multiple hits in 5 games, and he also had a game with back-to-back home runs. So he's just been completely tearing it up for the Reds thus far, and I feel like he's kind of going under the radar. It's been really, really good for the Reds.
Yeah.
And last but not least, what was your last thing you expected?
The unfortunate amount of pitcher injuries is going to probably stay a thing throughout the rest of the season.
Yes. I mean, with the lowered pitch clock, again, pitchers are being forced to throw pitches faster, and that can result to them throwing pitches that they feel uncomfortable with or to throwing out of weird angles. And so far, we've seen it derail some of the better pitchers in the MLB.
Yeah, you don't think about the difference between 18 seconds and 20 seconds being that much of a difference, but for a pitcher, those 2 seconds are everything, and it's caused a lot of injuries so far this season.
Most notably, I
Shane
would say,
Bieber is out for the season. He had to get Tommy John surgery.
He had an unbelievable start. He went I think 6 innings without allowing a hit and striking out 11 batters in Oakland, and now he's gone for the rest of the year.
Spencer Strider is hurt, the Braves ace. We don't know how long he's going to be out yet, but we know it's a UCL injury, may require Tommy John, so he might be done for the season.
The aforementioned Astros pitcher, I think it's Framber Valdez, just got hurt, so
yes,
this new pitch clock is not working well, and MLBPA, which is the Players Association, believes it's the pitch clock that's the cause for all these injuries. So
it truly just has been a disaster for the league, and it's sad to see, and hopefully they'll fix it before it keeps getting out of hand.
Yeah. I guess my pick for a thing that was expected is the Chicago White Sox are terrible. Really, really, really terrible. They are unbelievably bad. The only good thing about that franchise at this point, because they got rid of their almost Cy Young winning... Did he win the Cy Young? Yeah, almost Cy Young winning pitcher, Dylan Cease. They got Tim Anderson out of there. He now plays for the Marlins, who also suck. But Luis Robert is currently the only bright spot, I would say, on that entire team, because they've got some young guys like Gavin Sheets, and they don't have Jake Berger anymore. But it just feels like they have a lot of pieces that do not mesh together well at all, and they've lost all their good pieces and basically all of their future.
Speaking of important young talent, number 1 MLB prospect Jackson Holliday is making his debut today. A 3-second clap to him. Congratulations on making the major leagues.
I just want to say he has an absolutely phenomenal name, first thing off the bat. Absolutely.
Why do you say that?
No reason in particular. Jackson's just a cool name, you know? But he definitely looked like he was MLB ready, because he has just been cooking in the minor leagues so far.
He has kind of been shaky so far in his debut. Currently 0 for 3, but he should get to bat again, so hopefully we'll be able to see him get his first MLB hit tonight.
I'm looking at it right now. They're in a game against the Red Sox. It's 3-5 in the top of the 7th. Red Sox are winning. It appears he has an RBI at least.
Yes, he does.
He grounded out, but brought a runner home. So he's doing something, which he's very hyped. He's been good, really good in the minor leagues. I think they made a good decision calling him up. So,
and I'm sure his defense has also been fantastic tonight, because he's a great defender.
If he's going to be a great defender and a great hitter for them, the Orioles are super terrifying to play against, as they were before they called up Jackson Holliday. My only concern is how is that infield going to play with Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holliday, and I'm forgetting his name, but a guy that won the Gold Glove for them last year at shortstop, I think.
Oh, I remember. I know who you're thinking of, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either. Turner might look that up for a second. So, and then I guess the next thing we would talk about is our last thing that is unexpected. The Guardians have by far the best run differential in the MLB right now. It's not even close. The Braves come in second with 26. The Guardians are plus 34, so they are technically 8 runs better than the Braves by run differential. And they have also been incredibly good on the road with a record of 7-2. They've just been awesome. Their pitching is so freaking good. It's unbelievable. Also, that player that we were talking about is Jorge Mateo. So I don't know how they're going to fit all these players in.
Personally, I think they're probably going to have to trade somebody. Personally, I'd probably trade Mateo, because they could play prospect Jordan Westburg at third base. He's fantastic. Gunnar Henderson, who a lot of people were speculating how it could have a shot to win the MVP this year.
Yeah,
and of course Jackson Holliday, who just got called up. And that's like a fantastic infield, and all of those players are still so young and have a lot of time to grow get better.
Not only are the Orioles amazing, they have such good youthful talent. that they're going to be good for a really long time. So I'm pretty sure the Orioles...
Yeah, I didn't even talk about Adley Rutschman, who's like the best catcher in MLB already.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Orioles will win a World Series within the next 5 years. I don't know if that's a hot take button. I'll press it just in case it is. But, yeah. And last but not least, what's something we can expect for the rest of the year?
Something you can expect for the rest of the year is that the Dodgers are going to just remain dominant. I know I've talked about them a lot, but that's just because they're the most exciting and most important team in baseball right now. The superstars, the controversies, all the spotlight right now is on the Los Angeles Dodgers and their organization. And it is just going to be a fantastic team no matter what happens.
I agree with you, but that is not my pick for what's something we can expect for the rest of the year. My pick is that we will have a little bit of a good, a bad, and an ugly situation, as in the divisions in the American League. The good, the AL East. The AL East is going to be amazing and a dogfight for the rest of the year.
Yep.
The bad, the AL West. It'll probably go to one of three teams, the
Probably
Mariners,
Astros,
who are pretty
Mariners, or Rangers.
I'd say currently it's set up to be the Rangers because they were the best last year, and currently the second best predicted team, the Astros, is nowhere near opposing them because they have not had a good start. And the ugly will be the AL Central for sure. The Guardians will probably go up against the Royals or the Twins for that division, but everyone else will probably not be very good.
And another thing to continue to expect, a little bonus here, Mike Trout will continue to play fantastically, but the Angels will continue to suck.
That's an obvious one. He's done that for years, and the Angels have not been good. So if you're an Angels fan, I wouldn't get your hopes up this year, despite the fact that they've been playing some decent baseball recently, because they're going to need production from a lot of the rest of the team, and they're not necessarily built for that kind of production right now.
Yeah.
Is Westberg playing for the Orioles right now?
Yeah.
Awesome. It's so awesome to see their young talent already in the MLB and playing well. I mean, they're going to be really, really good for a long time. And if they don't win the AL this year, they've got next year or the following year to win it. I mean, they're always going to have to compete with guys like the Yankees and guys like the Red Sox, who are franchises. But speaking of competing with the Red Sox, Jordan Westberg just hit a 3-run home run to take the Orioles a lead over the Red Sox. It's now 7-5 in the 7th inning. The Orioles, as we mentioned, are very, very good.
Another thing to remember about the Orioles, too, is that Grayson Rodriguez still might get to come and get called up this season.
I'm pretty sure he's already pitching for them.
I don't know. Did he make the opening day roster?
Pretty sure. We don't need to fact check it, but
yeah.
Their rotation,
if he is on the roster, just getting him able to learn from Corbin Burns, he's going to be fantastic. The Orioles are going to be fantastic. They've just done a fantastic job with their rebuild.
Fantastic.
But yeah, moving on now to our
NBA.
two most important sports right now.
NBA is going to be in the playoffs in I think 6 days.
The last day of the regular season is Sunday. The first day of the play-in tournament is Tuesday.
So guys, it's almost there. We are almost at the apex of the NBA season. We are going to get playoff basketball. I'm so excited.
I love some playoff basketball.
There are two things. Well, one thing I love and one thing I hate about playoff basketball is that it's amazing and super awesome to watch, and that it almost signals the end of a basketball season. But
yeah, that's true. That is the very sad part about it.
We know for a fact who is in the postseason at this current moment in time because we know who's eliminated. So there are teams that have guaranteed postseason berths. Some have guaranteed playoff above the play-in berths. So those teams are the Celtics, who have had it for freaking forever, the Bucks, and I think the Knicks are good for the playoffs. Oh no, wait, the Knicks are not good for the playoffs yet. But the Bucks and the Celtics are for sure in. And on the other side, the Timberwolves are good, and the Nuggets are good, and the Thunder are good. Other than that, it's completely up for grabs. I mean, in the West, the difference between the last play-in team, which is the Warriors, who, as I predicted not that long ago, have been on an absolute heater and have they've completely taken the Rockets out of consideration for making the playoffs. They are eliminated.
And now they're coming for the Lakers, which I don't like at all.
Now they're coming for everybody. With a win and a loss from the Kings, the Warriors move up to 8th. And then we got the Suns, who would be a game above them if they lost again. And the Pelicans, who would be 2 games above them if they lost again. So there's really a decent chance for the Warriors to make the playoffs if they cook down the stretch. It's really good to see Steph Curry and the guys come together and play amazing basketball like we are used to seeing them do.
Yeah, they are truly a fantastic unit, and they're going to win a lot of games when Draymond makes all of his threes.
Yeah, it was not good for the Lakers last night, as Turner, who is a Lakers fan, can very much testify to.
Yes, I was watching the game and I was not happy about it. But the Lakers are still good. I still think they could pass the Kings because the Kings have a very difficult schedule. They have to play the Suns and the Pelicans still.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a very quick water break, and then we will get back to you with more content.
We are not sponsored by any brand of water, just so we're clear.
We're sponsored by the makeup compound of water, hydrogen twice and oxygen.
If that's a brand, we're not actually sponsored.
If there's a brand called H2O or hydrogen twice and oxygen, it's not a sponsorship unless you want it to be. So, with the current playoff format, I'm going to list you off the matchups that would be going on, and you tell me who you think would win these matchups.
Okay, we're going to do just the first round?
Just the first round.
Okay, I got it.
We can dive into it once we know the playoff stuff is set, and especially dive into it more after the play-in tournament is done. We can make like an official bracket for what we think will happen.
Get me some playing teams then.
We got Chicago playing Atlanta on the eastern side of the bracket.
I'm going to take Atlanta. I think Ice Trey, who should be coming back here in a couple days, can take over a one-game series and lead them to a win there.
I'm also going to take the Hawks because I personally think the Chicago Bulls team is built horrendously. It's a bunch of old veterans. They're missing one of their best players. They're not really good on either side of the ball.
And as a Toronto Raptors fan, I'm sure you know DeMar DeRozan's not the greatest player in the playoffs.
He's not terrible, but he's just not as good as Kawhi ever was for us. So yeah, I think the pretty unanimous decision, despite the Bulls being higher in overall seed, would be that the Hawks will probably win that one. If Philadelphia played Miami, do you think Philadelphia could beat the Heat?
It depends on what Joel Embiid you're going to get, in all honesty.
It also depends on another player, what type of player you'll get. Jimmy Butler.
You know what kind of player you're going to get with Jimmy Butler in an elimination game.
Then just say it. Say what we know you're going to say.
The Sixers would win if Joel Embiid plays like regular season Joel Embiid. The Heat would win if he plays like playoff Joel Embiid. So I'm going to take the Heat.
Yeah, I don't see any way of the Sixers winning this one with Embiid's playoff history and Butler's playoff history. It's just, it doesn't make sense for the Sixers to win it because Embiid, perennial playoff choker, Jimmy Butler, a perennial playoff legend. So I think that if that came down to it, we would probably see that.
Michael Jordan's son is ready to come out and play.
Michael Jordan's other son, because Jalen Green is Michael Jordan's, I think, probably first son. But
not anymore.
All right, we got the Knicks and Pacers. This one would be a good matchup.
I'm taking the Knicks. Jalen Brunson's a fantastic player. OG Anunoby is going to come back still. They just got Mitchell Robinson back. Dante DiVincenzo is playing the best basketball he's played all year right now. Josh Hart's one of the best rebounding guards in the league. They have a really good team. Even though Julius Randle's out for the season, which we did not mention, but...
Yeah, he got out for the season while I was sick and was not able to do the podcast because I sounded horrendous.
Unfortunately, he had to get season-ending surgery, and he will not play again until next year.
Yeah. I personally think the Pacers could beat the Knicks.
Pacers can run up the score on anybody.
Exactly.
That's their thing.
And they pass the ball really well.
But Tyrese Haliburton has struggled since the All-Star break.
Yeah, Tyrese Haliburton, He looks rattled for some reason. Looks like a shell of his former self.
He had that one injury, and he just has not been the same this season.
So, yeah, I personally think that the Pacers could very much beat the Knicks with the Knicks' playoff history and stuff like that. But, yeah, it would probably be a really good series. And then we got the Magic and the Cavaliers. What's your opinion on that while I get another sip of water?
This one's rough. I feel like a lot of people don't give the Magic the credit that they deserve. They're a good team. But I just think Cleveland has more veterans when it comes to playoff experience, which is why I would take Cleveland.
That is exactly the reason I was going to give, is that they are too young, I think, to win a playoff series against a veteran team. Because Donovan Mitchell's great in the playoffs, and then they've got good defensive talent to surround him. Oh, is that a hot take, Bo?
Yes, it was. Paulo Banchero will be a top 10 NBA player within the next 2 years.
Is he not a top 20 NBA player now?
I said top 10.
I heard you say top 10.
There's a case that he's top 20 right now. But I think he'll take a superstar leap here in the next 2 seasons and really solidify himself as one of the best power forwards in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I personally don't think that's a hot take, but some of you guys might. Because, you can probably very easily list off 10 players that are definitely better than Paulo Banchero right now. But
well, if you think about it, LeBron's going to come off the top 10 because he's going to retire soon. Steph's going to come off the top 10 because he's going to retire
now you're
soon.
making me feel old. Yeah, but the thing about Banchero is he hasn't even sniffed his prime yet. He's in his second season of his career. We're seeing guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander balling out of their minds. He's in his prime. Luka's in his prime. Giannis is in the back end of his prime.
The NBA is bright.
Yeah, future of the NBA is like Banchero and Wemby squaring off in a finals. I can see that happen.
Banchero, Chet, and Wemby.
Yeah. But moving on to the Western Conference side of things, if things were to go down today as exactly as they are, the Warriors would play the Lakers in the play-in tournament, which I'm pretty sure probably would terrify you as a Lakers fan.
No, because Anthony Davis destroys the Warriors every time we played them. The only problem is he doesn't play against them.
That is true. He has not been healthy. But with a fully healthy Lakers squad and a fully healthy Warriors squad, I don't know who would win. I'm just saying it'd be a close one because the Warriors...
The only reason the Lakers lost last night was because Anthony Davis had a headache and decided not to play.
That's a very bold statement. That deserves a hot take button. I don't think that's the only reason that
the Warriors have no size to stop Anthony Davis on the boards and on the rim. He just dominates them. It's something I see every time I watch the Lakers play the Warriors. And that's the reason that the Lakers just run through the Warriors every time they meet in the playoffs recently.
That's true, but Klay Thompson has torched the Lakers this year. And you get playoff Klay where it's either like he's really good or really bad. And I feel like he would be unbelievable if they played the Lakers. And so I'm going to use a hot take button and say Klay Thompson would score 40 points or more in a game against the Lakers in the play-in tournament.
That's a pretty hot take. I know he gets very hot when he plays against the Lakers, but yeah, I can't get behind that. I just don't feel like he's the same shooter he was a couple years ago. He's still good, but
I see the potential. When he's hot, he's really hot. In the playoffs when he's hot, he's really, really hot. And when he plays the Lakers, he's hot. It's like a triple inferno hot sauce or something where he could just burn your team for 40 points.
Yeah, but I also think Anthony Davis drops 40 points and like 20 rebounds to even it out.
There you go. There's that. So 40-20 game from Anthony Davis and a 40-point game from Klay Thompson. You heard it here first.
And then you're probably getting at least 20 from Steph and LeBron.
Well, that one actually isn't really nearly as much of a hot take button, I guess. So.
And then you're getting at least 10 from Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell.
Ooh, that's a hot take button because it's D'Angelo Russell in the playoffs that we're talking about here.
D'Angelo Russell, I have a good feeling about. I have a feeling he's going to really step up for the Lakers in the playoffs this year instead of disappearing, but we'll see. That could also be another hot take, but we don't need to hit the button again.
Yeah, I would say there's lofty expectations for either of these teams to win, but a matchup against each other, that would be really good. And it probably would signal the end of the dynasty of LeBron or Curry, depending on who lost.
Yeah, I feel like it's whoever loses that series, it's just over for them. I mean, that would be a really awesome one-game series to watch.
I want to see it happen so badly.
I don't.
I know you don't because you're scared of the Warriors.
I would play the Warriors if we could get to the 7-8 game. I just want us to be in the 7-8 game.
Who would you rather play? DeMontis Sabonis and the Kings, Devin Booker and the Suns, or
Golden
Steph Curry
State.
and the Warriors? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think out of those three options, the best team for the Lakers to play against
I would
is probably
say
the Warriors.
Warriors, then Suns, then Kings, if I had to rank them.
Yeah, because you don't want to play the Kings because DeMontis Sabonis has never lost against Anthony Davis in his entire career, and De'Aaron Fox is great in the playoffs. But speaking of the Kings, if things went down today exactly as they are, they would play the Phoenix Suns in a play-in matchup.
And I'm going to take the Suns because Kevin Durant knows what he's doing in games like this, and De'Aaron Fox has only played in one playoff series in his entire career.
I only need to say 3 words. It's not Luka. Devin Booker can score like 45 points on a team in the playoffs as long as it's not the Mavericks.
Yeah, that does make pretty good sense.
Yeah, I think then they'd absolutely get bounced by the Nuggets or the Timberwolves, but that is for a later day. So I think the Suns could beat the Kings for sure.
Okay, so that would mean the Lakers would play the Kings.
This is theoretical stuff that we didn't get into on the eastern side of the bracket, actually.
And the eastern side, we would have
had the Hawks playing the Celtics, which sneaky.
No, the Hawks would have to play Philly.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's multiple. I forgot the formatting of this. Oh my gosh, I did this so horribly.
Okay, now so let's get the Western Conference one over because I'm going to be sad talking about how the Kings are going to destroy the Lakers in a one-game playoff series.
So if Phoenix won, it would mean the second seed played the winner of the lower game, and Phoenix would play against the Denver Nuggets. And then these two teams would face off to play against the Timberwolves. It'd be the Kings and the Lakers, and we both know the Lakers would get bounced by the Kings.
Yes, we don't need to talk about it anymore. Move on.
In the eastern side of the bracket, it would be the Hawks and the Sixers to play against the Boston Celtics.
Give me Embiid in this one. I just feel, give me the Sixers, but not Embiid.
You said give me Embiid as if he was the whole team, which he kind of is.
Give me Tyrese Maxey in this one.
Nice.
Because he will be the reason they win, not Embiid.
Yeah, I don't really see the Hawks, despite us saying they would beat the Bulls. I don't see them beating the Sixers. In fact, they're currently choking away a massive lead they had against the Hornets right now in the fourth quarter. But that would set us up for, let's finish off the East ones because we didn't do it. Milwaukee would play against the Heat. Yep. And that would be a spicy matchup. Because these two teams hate each other.
Part of how this series would end up is the current state of Giannis. He got hurt last night. They did an MRI, no damage, but he's still probably going to have to miss a few games. They might even just shut him down for the rest of the regular season and let him rest up.
Yeah, because they've already clinched a spot. I mean, they could drop in the standings because the Knicks and the Magic and the Cavs are all right behind them. But
I think that Heat versus Bucks, Dame versus Jimmy, Bam versus Giannis, that is such a good matchup that I could not tell you who would win that right now, just because of how the Heat play in the playoffs.
I think with the clutchness of Dame and the fact that you got Giannis some help, I think the Bucks could pull off a series win against the Heat.
But yeah, they have Doc Rivers, though.
Oh, that's true. All right, give me the Heat. There's no way I'm picking Doc Rivers to beat Eric Spoelstra in a 7-game series. If we just take players aside and think exclusively of the coaches.
You're telling me that if Eric Spoelstra had a G League team and Doc Rivers had, let's say, Stephen Curry, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Shaq, you would take Spoelstra's team?
No, because the players would just coach it instead of Doc Rivers.
Okay, I was gonna say that might be a really hot take.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we would have Sixers Celtics, which this one is pretty obvious.
The Celtics would run away with that
The
series.
Celtics would clap the cheeks of the 76ers. That is all I got to say about that.
Interesting
analogy, but it is still out there. So
okay, next up.
Let's see. This would be Phoenix and Denver would clap the cheeks of the Suns.
Yeah, yet again.
Hey, they bounced them last year. Jokic has that dog in him and will cook Yusuf Nurkic and Bol Bol. So I think they would win. And then Timberwolves Kings, it would be the same exact result, I do believe.
Yeah, the Timberwolves would cook them.
And then we have Thunder Pelicans, which don't sleep on the Pelicans, man. Do not be sleeping on the Pelicans. What do you think about Thunder and Pelicans?
Ooh. Can Chet stop Zion? That is the question. Everybody has said they don't think he can stop Zion just because Zion will muscle him in the paint on every play. That would be the deciding factor in that series.
I think that is very true, that he would muscle Chet in the paint and absolutely outmuscle him and all of that stuff. But I think the fact that Chet is taller and has a bigger wingspan and all that kind of stuff would really help him hold his ground in the paint. And
well, then just put Jonas Valanciunas on him instead.
Exactly. And then you're playing probably Jalen Williams against Zion.
Exactly.
So they don't really have the size to match up against Zion, but the rest of the team is clearly the Thunder are better, especially with Shea. So I would take the Thunder. And then Clippers, Mavericks. At the beginning of the year, this seemed like a question, but with the heater the Mavericks are on, it doesn't really seem like much of a question anymore. The Mavericks would probably beat them.
Luka.
We are spending way too much time on this segment, but we have one more thing we have to discuss, and that is winners of the major awards.
We didn't even finish.
We did finish. That's all the teams.
Was that really?
Yes.
Okay.
Winners of major awards, as we're in the last stretch of the season. Who you got winning MVP?
At this point, I would give it to Luka personally, but I know Jokic is going to win it.
I agree that Luka deserves it, but it's either going to Jokic or Shea, which is sad because Luka's been really, 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 really good.
It's going to go to Jokic. It's not a debate anymore.
Yeah. We're just going to do MVP because we are super running out of time. It's already been 56 minutes and we haven't even covered what's probably the biggest topic of the day, the NHL. Because playoffs is right around the corner for the NHL as well.
Okay, let Jackson run with it. Here we go.
Here we go. All right, teams that have clinched, blah, 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 blah. We got Boston, Florida, and Toronto. So the whole Atlantic Division has clinched. And also all three of those teams are within 3 points of each other, except for Boston and Toronto, who are within 6 points of each other. Carolina and New York have clinched in the Metropolitan. And things are not looking great for the New York Islanders, who are the third seed, because some teams have turned it up an absolute notch. The Tampa Bay Lightning have basically clinched that first wild card spot. They could still beat the Leafs, but it's probably very unlikely. And then currently the Capitals sit in second, but Pittsburgh is a game behind, Detroit is a game behind, and Philly is a game and a half behind. All the other teams are basically probably done for. In the West, the whole Central has clinched. Stars and Avalanche and Jets. Sorry, I'm still kind of sick. Vancouver and Edmonton have clinched in the Pacific, with the Kings holding on to the last spot there. Nashville has clinched probably a wild card spot, and Vegas currently holds the other one. However, St. Louis is 5 points back of them. So it's looking like the playoffs are basically set. There could be some maneuverage in the Metropolitan and wild card in the eastern side of the bracket, and then the Kings and Golden Knights could swap with each other really easily in the Pacific.
I am hoping that the Kings can pull away here down the stretch and get that playoff spot.
I genuinely think the Kings might want to play someone other than Edmonton for the first time in their lives and might actually want to lose this one to the Golden Knights.
Well, would they really rather play the Stars?
They would, yeah, they'd play the Stars. And they'd probably get bounced by the Stars. So, yeah, maybe it's for the best that they do that and just hold on to their win.
Well, there's only 8 more days left in the NHL regular season, so...
Yep, and it's officially time for who's going to win the playoffs in the NHL based off who we've got so far today. And the first game that we would have would be the Bruins and the Capitals.
I'm going to take the Bruins because they're the best team. And are they the best team in that?
They're not the best team, but they're
pretty
darn near
pretty
close to the best team. So.
And the Capitals have Ovechkin, but that's kind of about it at this point.
Yeah, and Tom Wilson, but besides that, not a whole lot. And the Bruins are literally 22 points better than the Capitals, so they're a much better built team. The other wildcard game would be Rangers Lightning, which I think would actually be a very interesting game.
The Lightning are one of those teams that is really good in the playoffs.
Exactly.
They get it from, I don't know what it is about those Florida teams' mentality in the playoffs, but they know what they're doing.
Teams in Florida turn it up an absolute notch in the playoffs. Do I think they could beat Igor Shesterkin and one of the best built teams in the NHL?
Probably not.
Debatable. But they have a great offense, Stamkos and Kucherov, and then they've got that really good goalie who just came back from injured reserve, and I'm not remembering his name because I don't know a whole lot about hockey. I'm
confused. Why would the Capitals not play the Rangers?
Oh, yeah, the Rangers are the higher seed. I didn't think about that. Okay, so the Capitals would play the Rangers.
Okay, we're taking the Rangers.
We're taking the Rangers. And then it'd be Lightning Bruins, which would be a great game.
I'm still taking the Bruins.
I'm still taking the Bruins as well, because the Bruins are better built and really good at home.
Okay, sorry, Jackson doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm sorry. I would like to give a 3-second clap real quick to my uncle, Bobby, who is super knowledgeable on hockey and helped us understand it a little bit more while he was here in Texas last week. So, 3-second clap to Bobby. So, now both my amazing aunt, who we call Auntie, and my Uncle Bobby have gotten 3-second claps on the podcast so far. The two other games would be Hurricanes and Rangers, and I feel like this first one is probably a no-brainer between the Hurricanes and Rangers.
Let me think. I don't know that much about hockey. Hang on.
The Hurricanes have an amazing defense,
okay,
and then the Rangers are just kind of whatever.
Are the Rangers just kind of that mid-team because it's a mid-division that they got into the playoffs for that reason?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're kind of like how the Minnesota Twins won their division last year, and then they only knocked out the Blue Jays.
Exactly. And then on the other side, we would have the Panthers and the Leafs, and from my experience of watching hockey for a little bit, you cannot pick the Leafs.
I know
in
the
first
Leafs
round.
choke, so we're going to go with the Panthers.
The Panthers are amazing, can't pick the Leafs in the first round, so that's that. Central Division, it would be, let me see here, Vegas would play against the Stars.
We're taking the Stars. They're just the better team.
Cannot root against the house, ever. They won the Stanley Cup last year. They got way better at the trade deadline. They have great cohesion as a team. Even on the road, they are a completely nightmare of a team to play in the playoffs, and I think the Stars genuinely might be the best team in the West and still be undermanned to play against the Golden Knights, because the Golden Knights are just stupidly good every single season for some reason. They're like the villain of the NHL. So I think they could beat the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And I can understand where you're coming from. It's kind of like a Clippers scenario.
The Clippers?
Wait. No, that was the other team. That was the team we were just talking about, the Leafs. They have the Clippers scenario going on where they choke all the time. They're kind of like the sneaky team that's always good. I'm trying to compare that to basketball because that's what I'm good at.
Sneaky team that is always good.
Probably the Heat again.
I mean, yeah, you could say the Heat. And then the other game would be Vancouver-Nashville, and I feel like this one would probably be pretty easy, despite the fact that Nashville went on an absolute heater.
Vancouver's really good. I did say I picked them to win the Stanley Cup a couple weeks back on the podcast.
Still think that?
So I'm just going to roll with what I said a couple weeks ago and keep up with it and take the Canucks to win.
The question definitely is, will they have a healthy Thatcher Demko for this, which is huge if they don't. So, but I think they would destroy the Panthers. Then it'd be Jets and Avalanche.
Give me the Avalanche.
Yeah, the Jets have Connor Hellebuck and then no one else, basically. So I would pick the Avalanche, who have Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, and the incredible goalie who I'm forgetting his name because I'm not good at remembering names for a sport that I've been watching for like 4 months.
Yeah.
And then Edmonton and the Kings. And history probably will repeat itself here, if I'm being honest.
I'm taking the Kings.
That's bias.
Yes, it is. I don't know anything about hockey, so I'm going to be biased for my team.
The Kings have lost to the Oilers in 2 consecutive playoffs, and I don't really see anything changing. So, yeah, that's that. And then we're going to just do a quick run through of who we think will win major awards in hockey. I'm going to list off the name of the award and what it means after this water break yet again. Keep talking if you want.
Yet again, we are not sponsored by water. My apologies. Jackson's still kind of sick from last week. But he's good enough to podcast today, so that's good.
Yep, good enough to do it for you guys. All
For
right,
our
individual
8
trophies and awards. The Hart Memorial Trophy is basically the MVP of the NHL.
And I think that's going to go to one of two people.
Yeah.
Either Nikita Kucherov or Nathan MacKinnon.
Those are both the odds-on favorites. I personally think that it would be Nathan MacKinnon because his team is much better off in the standings than Kucherov's.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with Luka right now, where his team is just not as good, even though he's the better player.
Yeah. So, Nathan MacKinnon is our pick. He is the odds-on favorite to win, so it's probably a boring pick, but yet again, we don't know that much about hockey yet. Still working on it.
Yes.
The Lady, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Bing Memorial Trophy, which is awarded to the player with the most sportsmanship and gentlemanly conduct, combined with a high standard of playing ability.
It's Matt Rempe. I'm kidding. He's gonna win the opposite of that.
Yes, I agree with that.
I don't know enough about hockey culture to know who would win this award.
I feel like Marc-André Fleury is like a veteran goaltender who's a really, I think, probably a nice guy on the Wild. So I'd pick him, because I also don't know a whole lot about hockey culture.
I'm not even going to put something out there because I don't know anything, and we're just going to accept that and move on.
Pick anyone except whoever's the current captain of the Bruins. I'm forgetting his name. He's nicknamed the Rat. My goodness, why am I forgetting his name?
I don't know why you have such a problem with names when we do the podcast.
I don't know. I'm normally really good at my knowledge of stuff like this.
I know. It's kind of weird.
We'll drop it.
Yeah.
The Calder Memorial Trophy is for the best rookie.
Yeah. Is this even really a question?
It's just like Rookie of the Year in the NBA where Wemby's clearly winning it. Connor Bedard is clearly winning Rookie of the Year. Art Ross is total points at the end of the year.
That's going to be Nikita Kucherov. He's leading right now, and I don't see him dropping it in the next week.
It's Kucherov, McKinnon, or McDavid as of the current moment, and I think it will go to Kucherov as well. I think he's a little behind McKinnon, actually, but the Lightning need more wins than the Avalanche do, so I think they'll probably the Avalanche will start slowing down here to prepare for the playoffs, while the Lightning will keep pushing on the gas, and so I think Kucherov will end up taking it away.
Okay.
The James Norris Memorial Trophy, the defenseman who demonstrates throughout the season the greatest all-around ability in the position. Do you know any defenseman?
No.
I would say this is probably an award that goes to Quinn Hughes or Cale Makar.
Okay. Now that you've thrown out some names, I can tell you it's probably going to be Cale Makar.
Good choice.
Because I know he's good.
I'll pick the other option.
That's that simple. I know who's good and I know who's not. I don't know positions. I don't know anything.
I'll pick the other option, Quinn Hughes. He assists well and he's good at defense.
Doesn't he play for the Leafs and is your favorite player?
No, he plays for Vancouver.
Okay, I don't know anything.
My favorite player is Morgan Riley, who is a defenseman on the Leafs.
See, I don't know anything about hockey, guys. I'm sorry.
Conn Smythe is most valuable in the playoffs, so we won't do that. Ted Lindsay. NHLPA's pick of the NHL's most outstanding player.
This is probably, yet again, McKinnon or Kucherov. Probably McKinnon. Just like the MVP. Is this like pretty much the same thing?
Yeah,
do they hand out two
so.
MVPs? That's kind of weird.
I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe the players pick one and the association picks one, but I think we're going to probably have to call the episode here because our sound muffler literally just fell off of our mic and we're running out of time. So there are more awards in the NHL that could be given out, but...
No, we can keep going.
No, we're good.
Okay.
We've been doing this for an hour and 8 minutes. I'm still feeling under the weather, and our sound muffler just fell off of our microphone. So we are going to call it. Thank you guys for listening to yet another episode of Habaneros Hot Takes, where the takes are spicy and the jokes are funny.